I got a question about foreclosure. Excuse me. I got a lot of questions about a lot of different topics. I'm going to kick over to foreclosure. By the way, that was a great question, Wes. I'm glad you asked it. There's a big question for me and many others as tax season approaches. If I'm not making payments on my home, do I have to pay the property taxes? Great question from a young lady in Fort Myers. I'm very glad you asked that question. I don't know if we ever covered it. The question about whether you want to pay your property taxes, it's a very good question. And I would say to the person back, do you plan on keeping the house? If you have no intentions of keeping the house, then of course I don't want you to pay the property taxes, because eventually when the house either goes through foreclosure or is short sold or something, those taxes are going to have to be paid to clear the title. Alternatively, they may have a company out there or somebody out there paying for the taxes and trying to get a tax deed later on down the line. That's a whole other show in and of itself. So no, if you do have an intention of keeping the house, then you want to talk to if you're trying to modify the mortgage or refinance, that better be an issue. But I don't like taxes going delinquent for obvious reasons. I don't want anybody to swoop in and try to steal the house. I don't want the bank taking it, paying them, and then ultimately coming after you to refinance it where you're paying interest or penalties on the taxes and escrowing money, because it just gets convoluted. And escrow accounts are a nightmare for attorneys, for accountants, for everybody, because we don't know what goes in them, we don't know what comes out, we don't know where all these fees and costs come when they set up an escrow account, and then to try to pound that down, it's going to cost my client a lot of money for a forensic examination of where the pennies and dollars went, because the banks always, in my opinion, screw it up, and they can't figure out where the money went either. And that's why if you have a mortgage, my advice always is pay your taxes and your insurance separately. Do not let them escrow it. Some people love the escrow accounts. I think it's a nightmare just waiting to happen. And if you're one of the fortunate ones who did an escrow account and it's worked for you, great. Don't change it. But I've seen the other side, and it's not pretty when it does get screwed up. So it's, 6 of one, half dozen the other. I prefer to pay my taxes and insurance separately from any mortgage payments whatsoever, just because I can keep better track of it that way. I think I'm old enough and smart enough to pay my own taxes and my own insurance, and that's the way I do it, because I'm not going to allow the bank to give me an opportunity to screw it up. Anyhow,